Hello everyone, and welcome to, of course, another edition of the Misfits Racing League. My name is Strifium. Joining me is Unicorn from the UK. It's time for Tier 1 Monaco. How you doing, Unicorn?
Oh, I'm doing good, Striff, and I'm looking forward to this one. Tier 2 yesterday, a lot of drivers found a lot of moves that I wasn't expecting. We up the ante, we come to the faster grid, Tier 1. I want to see what these guys have got. You know, a high bar was set last night with that race. These guys, I think they could beat it, Striff, I really do.
Well, it's definitely a big task ahead to try and outdo the race that we had yesterday for Tier 2. Of course, 19 turns here around the Principality, 3.3 kilometers, 2 miles of pure street circuit, tight corners, and narrow escapes, we'll say, here in Monaco. And of course, this is round 7 for the Tier 1 division. We've been through Australia, Bahrain, Vietnam, China, the Netherlands, Spain, as recent as last week for round 6. And here we are in Monaco, and the next week we move on ahead to Azerbaijan, Canada, France, Austria, Britain, Hungary. We have Belgium on the calendar for round 14. We have Italy, Singapore, Russia, Japan, as well as the United States, Mexico, Brazil, and then, of course, round 22 there in Abu Dhabi. And who can forget our great, fantastic partners, Next Level Racing, of course, with their amazing products over on their website. You can check them out via the link in the chat or via the panels down below for some awesome simulation racing rigs and products. Of course, let's take a look now as we jump into Tier 1 racing here for Monaco. Paris is leading this championship with 100 points value there in second position in the Red Bull, Shenji in third in the AlphaTauri. It's been a very, very intense Tier 1 season so far, and as we come into round 7 here around Monaco, it's Red Bull, Ferrari, and AlphaTauri, the top 3 in the constructors in that order. So things getting quite heated here on the grid. And with that being said, Unicorn, we're just about to go racing here. And, well, the grid's given us very tight intervals through qualifying, and I imagine today will be no exception.
Yeah, and qualifying around here, it's so critical. Everyone will be doing, 3-4 runs, as many as they can get in with the tires available to them. So that qualifying tightness, they have to really be on it. A lot of people really just focus on the qualifying in practice. Is one of the circuits where probably the most important qualifying on their calendar, and all throughout the week usually people don't disregard qualifying, but they think more about their race pace, their strategy, learning the tires. Here at Monaco, everyone's focused on the qualifying. They want that fastest lap. They want to be on pole position because that is where you need to be. You need to be on that front row so that you can get the line down into turn 1, get away from the rest of the pack, and just make sure that you're ahead when the lights go out, because after that, overtaking so difficult here around the streets of Monte Carlo.
Waiting on one more driver, I do believe, to get themselves into the session ahead of this 18-minute qualifying, 50% distance. We have had 33 rounds of racing so far here in MRL Season 4. And in those 33 rounds, we have had, I think, just barely a handful of qualifying sessions with any kind of rain. And the racing's been dry. Everybody has been waiting all season long to see whether or not we'll have a rain dynamic. And the Tier 1 grid, I imagine, has been under a little bit of pressure, because with each day and each race that goes by, that pressure mounts and it mounts, and who is going to be getting the rain? And my biggest question is, will Tier 1 get rain today? I wonder if we can get a cheeky prediction in ahead of the race there, if one moderator has a moment. But I am thoroughly excited for this race, and I do believe all drivers are now into the session, so we should be ready to go racing. But yes, what do you think about rain here, Unicorn?
Well, it's already a tricky track. Those walls are already as close as they can be, and you add rain into the mix, visibility goes down, grip goes down. The tires around here, they already die out. I would love to see not a full wet campaign around here, but one where it starts dry, turns to rain. I think that would be so entertaining here around Monaco. But as it stands, like you said, we haven't seen rain really at all. I think we've had the tail end of a couple of races, and around here, we thought we were going to see rain yesterday, given the safety cars, the cloud coverage, but we don't want to see rain right at the tail end. We want to see rain throughout this grid. So, I'm just very much looking forward to seeing it when it does eventually rear its head, because it will. There's no doubt that we will go through the the rest of the season without rain. It will happen. It's just a matter of when, if rather than if.
Yeah, without a doubt. There a specific other reason we are waiting at the moment to go? I do believe we have everybody in, and
Yeah, we
these
should have
drivers
everyone.
should be getting readied up to go. I don't know if anything relayed, but we are going to have that 18-minute qualifying session, 50% distance race, formation lap, no ghosting, full damage, strict corner cutting, Monaco Tier 1 action. It is a handful. It is intense, and a lot of the drivers, they have been talking and mingling and asking one another, how have you been doing around Monaco? They've been trying to get bits and pieces of information on one another to really give themselves an assessment before jumping into this session. I was hearing conversations ahead of the race regarding strategy. Everybody has a very, very clear vision of what they want to do depending on the situation with weather, and I do believe everyone now is readying up. But it's as we jump in now, 20 seconds counting down before we get into this qualifying session and we get that information for the weather. But I really want to, and well, time is now. We're about to get it, and then 18 minutes we go for qualifying. Qualifying absolutely crucial here around the streets of Monte Carlo, as we've seen all week long and through history here at this circuit.
Yeah, and I think there's two groups of people when it comes to rain. Well, there's a few. You've got the people who love it, the people who hate it, but you've got the people now who will be preparing for rain, like you said, and the people who, because we haven't seen it for so long, will have forgotten it exists, and they just won't have prepared for it as much as some other people. So if we do see it, it'll be so surprising to some people that I think they'll do worse than they would have done previously, because they just haven't practiced for it. I'm not saying that is the case with this grid, but I know for sure I came into this Monaco race completely forgetting rain existed a few days ago, and was very fortunate to have the drive. But at this point, because we haven't seen it for so long, that I think it's just, you don't have to, it's practice and racing in the rain, those are two very different things. So it's just because we haven't had it for so long, that mindset of being in a wet race hasn't really been utilized drift this season. We haven't, some of these drivers who are new to the grid, we've never seen in a wet race before, and that's so weird at this stage of the season when we're what are we now? 7 rounds in, I think, and we
This
haven't
is
seen
round 7, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen a single drop of rain. So very weird, and we got to try qualifying again, and it's dry.
It is dry according to the chat, and they've come through instantaneously with the report from the drivers, a few of the guys in chat engineering some of these Tier 1 racers. So it will be the 34th round of MRL Season 4 action, and we have been told it will be dry. And we saw a variety of safety cars last night that might have monkey wrenched that strategy with the prolonging of that race, but we didn't even see a safety car, or sorry, excuse me, the weather change with that safety car. Now let's take our attention to the Williams. Brownie will be the first person to head out of the pit lane here in Monte Carlo. One thing to talk about is I do believe we have 19 out of the 20 full-time drivers on the roster here with us today. We have one reserve, and if I'm not mistaken, it is going to be the Haas driver, the leader of the Pirates, as we call them himself, Mr. Some Idiot, and I have seen him go around the streets of Monte Carlo several times, so be on the lookout for him.
Yeah, still a good showing. Shenjie, I think he might have just crashed drift. Going on board now with the Mercedes, and he has. Shenjie, he's crashed it coming out of Casino. So already, we've had a retirement not even 2 minutes into this session. Shenjie's crashed it. Pinned his car out of turn 4, and well, that's not how you want to start your Monaco run, with a knock to your confidence like that.
That's definitely going to play with him for this race. It's a 39-lap campaign, and he hasn't even had the capacity to get one in here. And that's going to be a big shock to the AlphaTauri squad. We'll just see how they pan out through here, with Shenjie sitting third in the championship right now on the rear of the likes of Paris and Valu. This will not be good for his running. He is the reigning Tier 1 champion.
Yeah, interesting enough, Brownie, he's just starting his flyer. He's on medium drift. Don't quite know why, but around Monaco, most people, nearly everyone, qualifies on softs. It's pretty much the set-in-stone strategy. You want to be as fast as possible here to get as high up the grid as you can. You're not going to do that on medium tyres, but here's Brownie now, coming out of Sector 1, and he's on the yellow-walled medium, so Not quite sure what his strategy is coming into this race. He's got Vexit behind him in the racing point, so he's on soft. So he'll be our first soft benchmark, but very interesting from the Williams driver.
Well, using that set of mediums right now could just be getting a feel for circuit, getting an idea of what's going on here in the session, seeing where everybody else lands, just getting that first run out, getting to terms. We'll see if he puts up a very good lap here on these medium compound tires as he comes through out of that chicane into the La Rascasse section of circuit. We'll see what the time's going to be out of the 66 Williams. Now, rear wing wide open. A 109.396 from Brownie, the first time set here in the session, and you said Vexit flying behind him. Looks like he will just be beginning a lap. Vexit as ace comes into pole position for just a moment as Dayson crosses the line in the Alfa Romeo. 108.762 for provisional pole here. Vexit crossed a 19.488 on what might have been a fuel drop lap, where he was just kind of shredding some of that fuel that you can get, excess fuel for these runs. Paris in the Ferrari now, 108.200. Balu right on the rear of him in that Red Bull. It was a 2.36, so things are getting tight.
Yeah, Domi's just crossed the 109.5. Not quite sure what happened to Vexit. He dropped the lap coming out of the Nouvelle chicane, so wasn't invalid. Just didn't want to complete the lap. Not happy with it, and now with times coming in thick and fast, everyone just flying in these lap times, complete opposite to what we saw last week in Spain, where everyone just waits for that last little bit of run here. Everyone just trying to get as many laps in as they possibly can. Yoda right now, he's flying, as is Sindaku, not too far behind in the racing point. But the Williams down through into the Grand Hotel hairpin.
On board with Fraser at the minute. I want to take a look at him, as I saw he was doing a lot of work around Monaco this week. He's going to head into the pit lane here, but I do know he has some good pace around here. We'll jump on back with the Williams in Yoda.
Yeah, Fraser. Not quite sure if he had his pedal situation fixed, but I know that he was running, I think, earlier in the week with an old set of pedals, given that his main set broke. So have to see how that change in hardware, if it is still impacting him, changes his race pace, seeing where it lands him.
It has been fixed. I do believe he has now rectified his technical problems. That's coming through and mimicking that, as well as the Williams of Yoda, jumping into 9th position here on the heels of his teammate Brownie in 8th.
Nicely constructed lap from him, and to be honest, I don't think there's anyone right now on an active flyer. A few outlaps here and there. I think Freeware in the AlphaTauri will be the next person to start a fly, yet to set a time, down in 16th on the time tower as it stands, but now through turn 1.
Not too many drivers on active laps at the minute. Checking with Sindako just briefly. Special there. Points will stick along with the German now as he comes into the Grand Hotel hairpin. Such a unique section of circuit, this hairpin. Very, very difficult bit of circuit here, especially when you are in the pressure cooker that is this Tier 1 grid.
Yeah, and Freeware invalidated his lap through there. He just took a little bit too much of the curb on the inside, and well, that's made the track mat red. This lap won't count for him, and 7 minutes into the session now almost, and he's yet to set a lap onto that board, so really needs to get a good banker in, at least, Shift, before those final 5 minutes, crunch time, when everyone starts pushing hard. Brain stew right now in the Alfa Romeo. He hasn't set a lap time. He's still validated, coming through into Rascasse in the final few corners. The last couple, DRS wide open for the Alfa Romeo. A little bit of slipstream as well, if you can find it, of the Williams, and there's P8 for him, a 109.126.
Well, now it's the Mercedes' turn to fly, and it's Blottel ahead of Bitto on the flyer right now, but they are both on the move. We'll jump on with the Mercedes. But there's a little bit of traffic ahead of Bitto right now in the form of a Red Bull and a Haas.
Yeah, a few drivers now out on those second runs. This is where times will fall down a little bit, but we've got to wait again for that final few runs. Yellow flags, people getting out of the way here again. Traffic around here could be so important, especially in qualifying. People struggling to get out the way with not a lot of room to get off of the racing line. Dason through the Nouvelle chicane. Nicely done. His teammate there letting him by, as well as the racing point of Vex, who's on an outlap. Dason 3/10 up through here. This could see him into the top 3 as he comes into the final sector. A little bit squirrely through Raskas. Through the final 2 corners though. Nicely done from the Alfa Romeo to the line. It's a 108.132 strip, and there's a new provisional pole time from him.
Nicely done. Paris behind him will not be improving. He's on an invalidated run, and we'll see what Valu's able to do. He's blown it as well over the curb. So the Red Bull will not be improving, and Dason has a moment to breathe. Fraser jumps into 4th position, a 108.260 out of him. Vexit is on the move in the racing point.
Yeah, on board with the racing point right now, and we know Dason, he was one of the favorites coming into Vietnam, another tricky street circuit, so really thrives in these difficult environments that maybe not a lot of other drivers do enjoy racing around. So not too surprising to see the Alfa Romeo topping Fraser. I think crossing towards Vexit has just invalidated his lap, and that is through the Nouvelle chicane. So a few drivers here struggling with the track limits, pushing just a little bit too hard, it would seem.
Brownie on his way into the pit lane now. It looks like he had to abort a lap in some capacity. A lot of traffic on this grid, and not necessarily a lot of areas for those drivers to pull away and find refuge for those drivers on the move, and we'll just have to see how that pans out. We've seen it throughout the week, a variety of invalidations and blocking, just as a side note, and that will play a role here in Tier 1 most especially, as it would in any qualifying session here around the Principality. You can see now Dougie Falcons is pulling off for Milan. Milan cooking through out of the tunnel into the Nouvelle chicane. We'll see if he is looking for an improvement as he makes his way through Sector 2.
Yeah, Freeway's out on another outlap, as well as are Paris and Valu in the top 3 right now. So those 2 drivers, they're cooking up to get ready to beat, or at least try and beat, Dason's lap. Freeway as well, yet to set a lap time. The only driver who's still in this session yet to set one, his teammate Shenjay. Obviously, he won't be setting a time after crashing so early on in the session. But now Freeway, AlphaTauri's sole hopes of getting into that top 10 in qualifying here.
Yeah, the German driver getting that first run invalid through that hairpin. Now as we come through Sector 1, we'll see how he goes through that hairpin once again. And it's, as you said, the AlphaTauris right now on shaky standing. Shenjay no longer in this qualifying session, and Freeware has been struggling. 7 minutes remaining. He keeps it clean through that hairpin. Not using any battery at the minute. Now he jumps onto that battery deployment as we come through the tunnel here.
Here he comes, moment of truth. He's still valid. Maybe a little bit trepid as he comes through, but he is still going to be a valid lap time, and that's what he needs. He does just need a valid banker lap here, so at least he's got something on the board. But there, drift through turn 15. That's another invalid lap for Freeware, and it is not going well for the German. He's going to go again here.
That is not good luck for him at all.
Speaking of not good luck, Paris, oh, he's done exactly the same thing as Freeware. He was 3/10 up, but he was on for a 1-7.
Valu's blown a run as well. And these guys are pushing and they're pushing, but they're not getting these pole position times right now that they want to get out in front of Dason. Exit. He seemed to have been on a run, but he might have blown it early here. He has an invalidated lap. Brownie seems to be on a flyer. He's on the soft compound tires coming into the tunnel now. You can see some idiot in the Haas pulled off to the inside.
Yeah, a lot of drivers now on what will be their penultimate attempt. They'll have one more run after this. Monaco, a fairly short circuit, sub 110 means that you can get around as many times as you'd like and as many times as the tires allow. Brownie now finding a bit of time through sector 2, and this could be a strong lap here, Striff, with the invalidations earlier from some of the top guys currently. Brownie can see himself right into that top 5 here, maybe around 6th place, just behind Richie, and there it is, 5th. He does beat the McLaren driver, who's also flying around Albert at 108.2. Nicely done for him, just 3,000ths off of Fraser's current best time.
Yeah, that's a good time out of Brownie. He'll be happy with that, given how things have been going for him recently. He hasn't had the most ideal qualifying sessions. Various invalidations, blocks, things like this through some of his runs, and he's had a checkered MRL past with qualifying.
Valu, he's just gone fastest for 107.9 on that second run. He went round again on old softs, and he's found a good few tenths to put him the first driver under 108, and that is a very, very impressive lap time, and he's given himself time to go again.
Well, it's definitely what he wants, is to get himself out in front and potentially escape from the grid early here. Richie, the McLaren driver, he seems to be on a run where he's picked up some improvement through Sector 1 as he comes into the Grand Hotel hairpin. He does have a little bit of traffic ahead of him in the form of Domi pulling off to the inside as we go through the tunnel.
Some idiot now to the line. He's found some time, and well, there he goes into P3, 3.5 tenths found, and a 108.193 puts him just ahead of Paris, and Paris yet to come back out of the pit lanes, Jeff. He's 4 wins in a row, and right now not looking too confident around Monaco, at least not the same form we've seen from him in the previous month or so.
Here comes Ace now through Rascass, and out of that final turn, DRS wide open on the rear. Is it going to be good enough? It is. It's going to be a pull time out of him. A 107.939, 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in this session as he jumps ahead of Valu. And things are really getting heated at the top of this timing tower, as there is less than there's 500 separating Richie and Valu at the minute, and Dason's right there 2 tenths behind, and this grid is going to be very tight for racing, as it always is here around the streets of Monte Carlo.
Yeah, and these guys now at the top, they're battling for the MRL track record. Valu beat it now with Richie. He's now on the top spot, not only in qualifying provisionally, but also on for that leaderboard in the Discord. So a lot of bragging rights out for grabs here, and Fraser, he's on an outlap getting ready. Alex Biddo as well, he's back out on track looking ready. Well, he was on an outlap, but he's come back into the pit lane, Stuart.
Well, take our attention to Mr. Freeware, who's been having a very up and down session, as has Shenjay there in 20th on the timing tower. The Alpha Tower is wanting to get a time on board, wanting to get some representation into that top 10. Freeware having some invalidated runs. We'll see what he's able to do here with 2 minutes remaining in quali.
Well, he's got time for this run, and then if it goes badly, he's got to go again with the same tyres. A little bit over the curb, put him almost in the wall, but he's managed to find it, still squeezing on through, and it's a valid lap time. We saw him invalidate through the chicane before. We saw him invalidate through here as well, taking it just a little bit easy to ensure that he gets some sort of time posted here for the Alpha Tauri squad. Now, through the final couple of corners, he's made it. It will be a lap time. Where is it going to put him, though? The German across the line on 108.8, 11th place. Not a bad place to start.
No, I'd say that's a pretty decent place to start for him, as long as nobody behind him is able to push him further back. And there's a variety of drivers now on runs. Bluttel is one of them in the Mercedes. Fraser, Brownie, Exit, Milan, Brainstew, all on the move, as is ZZ9 and Dougie. So there's going to be a lot of action happening on this circuit now. And with a lot of that action, there's going to be unique scenarios in which these drivers may invalidate or get blocked. Tight, narrow circuit here.
Yeah, Fraser, he's found enough to put himself within 1,000th of Paris's best time. He needs to find something through this final sector. The Renault now through 17, 18 now to the line. Where is this going to put him? It's P2. He's had a hell of a lot of time through the final sector, and a 107.953 slots him just ahead of Valu for P2 at the moment. But there is pretty much this entire top 10 right now is on a flyer.
Well, Harris, a 108.2 from him. I do believe that was the only valid time he had an opportunity to get across the board. Has just shown us a purple sector 2 here, but he's unfortunately invalidated through the chicane once again, and he will not be improving. That is going to be a 6th position start at best for Paris should anyone fail to improve on their times and jump him. That is extremely unfortunate for the Ferraris, as he was looking quite rapid, but this circuit, when you're pushing, should you just step that toe across the line, well, you're going to pay for it. Here goes Dason now. Pole position out of the Alfa Romeo. Dason is on the move. A 107.651. And he says, hello, Tier 1. Nigel McGeedis is back. And it's Mr. Some Idiot who's going to be looking to undo this now. In the Haas, coming through Raskas. He's had a lot of time around the Principality. I've seen it myself. Let's see what he's able to do. P6 right now. Does he jump Dason? No, but he will jump Microlander into 5th position.
What a time coming out of the Alfa Romeo. That is a monumental effort to get a 107.6. And to keep it valid as well, Valu invalidated his last run before he hopped into the pit lane. So a few drivers around his drift really pushing it that little bit too hard, finding the track limits, extending them. And that means penalties in the race if they keep it up. Obviously, qualifying, they're pushing for the fastest lap, but you've got to keep it within those white lines, keep it within the track limits. And if they don't do that throughout the rest of the race, we're going to see penalties play a role. And we saw it yesterday. Late safety cars throughout the race, they could change the finishing order massively.
Wow, what a qualifying and what a time it was out of Dason on pole position. Dason here starts first in the Alfa Romeo, 107.651. It'll be Richie Ace in the McLaren, 107.939 out of him, shy of 0.3 off the Alfa Romeo ahead of him, and Fraser in the Renault, the Danish driver, a 107.953, 0.3 off the front end, will start things in 3rd. It's Valu in 4th, Some Idiot here in 5th, Microlander 6th, Paris in 7th, Brownie in 8th, Exit in 9th, with Milan in 10th. And we have Paris there in the Ferrari. He's 7th in this one. And, well, it's time to get those predictions in, ladies and gentlemen. Share the stream, of course. Things are about to get intense. We have a dry running campaign with a ton of pace trapped in and around this grid in a very, very tight cage that is the streets of Monaco. And, well, I have to say, safety cars could very well be on the horizon. So get those predictions in the chat. How many safety cars are we going to see in this one? Who is going to be finishing this race on those top 3 steps? And, well, of course, I'd just like to take a moment and give a special shout out to Next Level Racing. Check them out via the link in the chat or the panels down below for some awesome sim racing rigs and gear. They're really helping out the simulation racing community. So hats off to them. Unicorn. Oh, it's time.
Indeed, it's time, Chef, and these drivers, it's that moment. Just everyone on the grid fine-tuning their setups. They'll be feeling that those nerves start to come in here. And, well, around here, obviously the top 10 all starting on softs. Outside of that, we might see a lot of mediums. Let's have a look, see what everyone's gone for. It is softs all for the top 10, then mediums for everyone outside it, apart from Sindaco on hards and Dougie Falcons in 19th on the softs. Other than that, everyone on the mediums. But tire strategy, these softs will die off much quicker than they need to run. So for the first half of their life, they'll feel all right. The second half, they will not feel good at all, just based on how they perform around this track. But yeah, tire strategy will be major, particularly with what you were saying about safety cars, Shift. They can change the game up, and I think it's probably the track that most people prepare for safety cars to impact their strategy.
It's going to be a wild one. It's going to be a wild one. Shenjie starting this race in 20th position. He's currently 3rd in this championship, to give you an idea of how massive that is. He's going to be trapped behind a lot of fast-moving traffic. Overtakes, I imagine, here are going to be very, very rare, and they are going to be risk-filled moves. Dason, Ace, Fraser, your top 3 here. Valu, Some Idiot, 4 and 5, we have Microlander as well in the Red Bull 6th, Paris in 7th for Ferrari, Brownie in 8th, Vegs at 9th, Milan rounds out the top 10. Bido's here in 11th position, as you said, starting on those mediums, and then it goes through. ZZ9, Freeware, Domi. Down to Sindako in 15th, Hard Compound Tires, Blotel in 16th. We have Brainstew, Yoda, Dougie Falcons, and as said before, Shenjie on this grid. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monaco. It is Tier 1, MRL Season 4 action, Round 7. My name's Stryfium here from Canada, and of course, well, we've got Unicorn here in the commentary, all the way from the UK, and well, Unicorn, I'm going to give you the honors for this one, sir.
Well, thank you, Striff. I think turn 1 here, Sandavot, obviously everyone will be saying. No heroics as always, but let's see. Sand someone. We saw a great start from Neon yesterday down into turn 1 to take P1, but here we go. We've got 5 red lights here. It's a very short lighting sequence, and away we go. And it looks like a few people might have read it. Valu's had a brilliant start. He's side by side with Fraser already, and that is the start you want around the outside of the Renault. And they're going side by side still up towards Massenet and Casino. Fraser has dropped back. He is behind the Red Bull now. Further back, a few positions have been changed. Freeware, he's up into 7th place. As the timing tower goes a little bit haywire, I think everyone else just about sorted themselves out. The Haas and the Ferrari, I think it's Summit and Paris. They're side by side through the Grand Hotel hairpin. The Haas just on the outside of the hairpin, but through the inside now. Paris just squeezing around the outside though. Nicely done from the Ferrari driver. 2 places up from where he started. So a brilliant first lap from him. And very well done to these racers to keep everything clean with the position changes that we've seen.
Very intense first lap. The timing tower giving us the usual shuffle, giving us a little bit of an equation to try and sort our positions out here on the broadcast end of things with the cameras. But man, we saw a lot of action coming through Sector 1 into that hairpin. Things are starting to pan themselves out nicely, and it looks like we've had a retirement. Blotel is out of this race. The Mercedes in Sector 2 has crashed, it would appear.
Yeah, not quite sure what caused that. I think he might have been just on his own. So the couple of drivers taking advantage of this. ZZ9, Domi with damage to the front wing. ZZ9, he's got a front wing change as well. Everyone else staying out here. So most of the drivers, if they had damage, they're going to stay out with it.
No safety car on the retirement from Blotel, but that is a Mercedes down and out. Dougie Falcons right now in the rear of Sindako here for 14th position. Very tight coming into the hairpin. I think Dougie was looking at him but thought better of it. And we'll make our way through this grid and find as many battles as we can, as things are going to be locked and loaded for some time. Things really don't start to spark until those pit stops start coming through.
Yeah, and when those tires switch over as well, there is a point before these guys can come into that pit lane. Like I said, the soft tires, they don't last as long as you need them to around here. So there is a switchover point, a really harsh one as well, when the mediums just start becoming super powerful in comparison. They go so much longer than the soft tires here around Monte Carlo. But like you said, things already starting to space themselves out a little bit. These tier 1 drivers, they're not only fast, but they're also very experienced. They're keeping things clean. They want to just avoid contact as much as possible.
Things are tight all the way from first position all the way down this grid to 12th, where there's a little bit of separation starting to form from 12th down through the grid. And as now we Shenjie and Dougie, as you say it, yeah. Wow.
What a move. I think the McLaren sporting an end plate missing on the right-hand side, so a little bit deep into Massenet, but Shenjie, the reactions to make that move stick, just super well done for the AlphaTauri. He's up to 15th from starting last on this grid. Now hunting down Sindaku. Just a really good opportunistic move. Just sent it straight up the inside. No looking back from him, and just brilliant to make that move stick as well as he did.
Shenjie, 3rd position in this standings. Not going to be happy about starting this race at the back of the bus, and we'll have to see where he lands himself here. We're on lap 4, and he's hunting down Sindako. He is taking no prisoners, as you say, Unicorn.
Yeah, just sticking to the rear of him, and Sindaku, he might have just seen what happened to Dougie Falcons in his rearview mirror. Here goes Shenjie now, DRS enabled, down towards turn 1, and another move for the AlphaTauri driving, and he is really on a charge here, Striff. He's already used about 40% of the battery. That might come back to haunt him in the later stages of this race. But right now, he will not mind. Track position is everything here around Monaco. And to be 14th from 20th within 4 laps, that is some seriously impressive driving coming out of Shenjie tonight.
Yeah, he needs to make sure he keeps his wing clean and just crush those intervals to the drivers ahead. 3.8 now, the gap to Brainstew. It was 4.2 when he made the overtake on Vexit. Paris right now sticking well in this train on the rear of Ace. Dason in a world of his own, and he's really coming through and joining the other race winners we've had around Monaco this week. Those leaders have taken charge of those races. They haven't been massively tight finishes, and Dason right now pulling a gap of 2 seconds on Richie. Ace here in second. That could be a problem. We haven't had a safety car of any capacity here yet in this session, but the night's young. Lap 5 out of 39.
And to answer the chat, no one in this train from 2nd through 6th has damaged that little train there that's falling. Dason, though, really pushing. He's already used about 80% of his ERS. And whilst that's giving him a nice little gap here at the moment, that's a lot of ERS to have used around a Monaco race in the first 5 laps. So playing a risky game, playing with fire a little bit, but it is giving him the gap he needs. But whether he can maintain this pace, I really don't think so. But with the pit stop, if he can pull out that, that big enough gap, it could be very interesting. Valu very tight to the rear of Ace Ritchie, and they said he's got himself free of the fighting shift. That could be important here. With these guys behind, all in this train, they're going to fight one another, slow each other down. So when Dason does run out of battery, these guys will be going slower anyway.
Well, the second Ace and well, here's the thing right now. Ace is slowing up on where Dason is right now in this grid. Valu can see where Dason is. He is not happy about this situation, and as soon as him and Ace Ritchie engage, well, that's going to cost them time as well. So Valu needs to make short work here to catch up with that Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, and that's easier said than done. We've seen Shenjie make some moves here already, but Monaco, it's still a tricky track to overtake, and when you've got Ace Ritchie in front of you, Ace Ritchie, no slouch whatsoever. All of these tier 1 drivers, they're here for a reason. Every individual here is a very quick driver. And around Monaco, that's a problem for the guy behind, because it's going to be so hard to overtake. And Ace Ritchie here, proving that point. Valu stuck right behind him, and Valu can't be too risky because he's got Fraser, Paris, some idiot as well, just behind him. Mike Colander's not too far up the road. This train, it's thinning out, but it's not thinning out enough that you can make too many audacious moves. So,
well, one thing I'll say this is, leading into this race, I had a few conversations with some of these tier 1 guys, and Paris and Valu have been 2 of the dominant drivers through the racing so far this season, at least in the past few rounds, and they're showing that in the championship right now. And a few of these tier 1 drivers, I think they kicked it up into high gear for the practice leading into this Monaco Grand Prix. I talked to Valu. He said, I have this specific strategy. I can tell you right now that strategy in qualifying did not pan out how he had anticipated. Paris is in 5th, he's in 3rd, and there's 2 drivers in front of them both. So some guys really came through here and they wanted to put some serious time in. And now Dason, Ace are your front 2 drivers here in round 7. And well, we'll just see how this pans out. Dason, 3 seconds now is the gap to P2 behind him.
Yeah, and, a little bit of a dark horse, Dason. I said he was a favourite coming into Vietnam, but he, that race really did not go his way. He'll be looking to right that wrong here, but he's only scored 6 points this season, so a win around here would be huge. And we're still early stages in the championship. Like you said, Paris, Valu, they've both been utterly dominant in the last few weeks. But Paris, he's won every single race he's been in, I think, the last 4 weeks in a row. Today, looking a little less likely. Valu, there hasn't been a race we haven't seen him on the podium, but even still, the Drivers' Championship is far from being decided here at Monaco, so they've both got to be on top of their game, and with everyone answering them, like you said, you've got Fraser here in 4th, you've got Ace Ritchie in 2nd, and obviously Dason flying up in P1 right now. They have to keep themselves in check. They need to keep pushing as hard as they can at every single race. Sindaku now, he's into the pit lane. It looks like those Racing Point engineers are holding a front wing for him. They are, and it's onto mediums for the Pink Panther.
Sector 1 right now looking so busy as this train has really... We had a little bit of separation for a time, but as everybody got comfortable and these softs have started to degrade, the medium runners have come through into the party. ZZ9, 20 seconds on the rear of Yoda. Yoda, 7.5 seconds on the rear of Shenjie, who's now in 14th from 20th where he began this race. Domi, 17th, not having the drive he wanted to have here on the rear of ZZ9. They're quite a ways away from all of the action, but of course it's a long campaign. We're not even a quarter through just yet. Valu within that half-second range of Ace ahead, and well, the entirety of this grid is now in position as
Fraser's in the pits.
Yeah, he jumps into the pit lane. That will put Paris into 4th position to chase down his rival in Valu. Brownie, Fraser, Vexit.
This is a little early, but they won't have too much traffic. The Williams of Yoda there, the only driver in this Ranger circuit, but not gonna lie, very surprised to see these guys come in on lap 9. You know, the softs, they won't be feeling brilliant like I was saying, so in the undercut now you can see Fraser already pushing, using that ERS to its fullest, but still, a fairly early pit stop if this undercut works, so we could see Fraser, you know, maybe even jump Valor. With how close that train was, it's going to be very evident whether it's worked or not. Pit stopping here.
Shenjie, sorry to interrupt you. He is extremely close to Brainstew, and I thought he might have had a move at one point, but we'll see what he's able to do. I just wanted to make sure we were keeping an eye on this because we've seen Brainstew and Shenjie do battle time and time again, and we'll see how they go now here in Monaco. Shenjie has that penalty, 3 seconds. He won't be happy about that, but Freeware, his teammate, has also just picked up a 3-second time penalty, as now it's Ace, Valu, Some Idiot, Microlander, and Milan all into the pit lane. Dason staying out on these softs, getting out ahead. Paris now into 2nd position, staying out 4.5 on the rear of that Alfa Romeo. He has Bido 3 seconds behind him on the 9-lap-old mediums.
Yeah, Bido on that alternate strategy. We'll have to see where he falls. Like you said, the 2 AlphaTauris with the penalties, that could cost them here at the end of this one. The Red Bull of Valor, he's just come out right behind Vexit, and well, Fraser up in P8 right now, looking very nice, and nicely timed pit stop from him. All depends though, where does Paris come out? I want to see how he compares to the Renault, who's now sitting in P8 currently. You know, the highest driver who has pitted so far in this race. Ahead of him, just the 2 soft runners, Dason and Paris, to go, with the rest being those who started on medias. Brainstew in between the 2 AlphaTauris. He's picked up his first 3-second penalty of the session as well. So penalties starting to come in a little bit stiff. We're, you know, just over a quarter of the way through this race, and it's just starting to really
NJ around the outside.
Raskas.
Oh, does he get this? Brainstew holding.
Very nice awareness.
Oh, Shenjie. He's really doing some lifting today.
Oh, and Striff, I'll tell you one more thing. Paris, staying out that long has not really worked for him. The Ferrari down in 13th. He has got a lot more cars in front of him than he did before. That has not worked out in his favor at all.
Yeah, these grids, this tier 1 grid, you know, I've seen it in other divisions of racing where you have separation, you know, you have pockets of racing through the grids. This is just a massive pocket of racing in tier 1, and he's now come out into 13th position. So much traffic here in Monaco.
We've got a second. It's Brainstew. Brainstew's off. He's smacked into the wing, his front wing off at the Nouvelle chicane, and trying to get out of the way there. He's tapped the wall again. Still in P5, but wing damage. He'll come into the pit lane here. I'm sure Dason's in as well. And when we've just seen Paris drop like a stone, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Alfa Romeo do the same.
Well, here we go now. Dason in the pit lane. Where is he going to drop? His teammate's going to get a little bit of an impediment in the pit lane as well, which is unfortunate. He's out now. He's through turn 1. Who's this on the rear of him? Vexit. Right on the rear of Dason. Dason holding position in 8th, and I have to say he's done all right here, Dason. He's done all right. He's got some good rubber. But I don't know if I think he might have been able to do better had he come in earlier, Unicorn.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think the undercut has paid off here, especially for Fraser, nettling into this race, but at the same time, 3-lap older mediums than Jason, who was leading this race. So all still to play for these drivers, and like you just mentioned, it's so tight right now. Paris, he's very tight to the rear of someone here, looking to the outside now, coming down into the Nouveau Chicane, turn 10. They're side by side, but there's
been a big issue.
Exit.
Yeah.
Paris finds his way through. Is he going to have to concede this position because he did overtake during yellow flags? I think he's all good.
Yeah, very unfortunate circumstance there. Vegs it into the wall. He has no damage visible on the front wing. Shenjay and Freeware have now exchanged positions. Shenjay into second position here. Yoda is in fourth with 8 seconds separating him between these AlphaTauris. And Fraser, if he's able to use Yoda as an element of separation to ace, this could be very good. Yoda is going to just sit here all day, though, because guess what? His teammate Brownie's in 7th, chasing down the McLaren and the Renault, and this could be some major team tactics coming out of the Williams squad.
Yeah, I'm going to look Dason. He may not have had the pit stop he wanted, but at the same time, he's very tight to the rear of Brownie, and with the pace we've seen out of him, we've seen some overtakes already around here. We saw it yesterday as well. It might be tricky around here to overtake, but if you've got the technique down, they can be found. Dropping off a little bit to the Williams coming out of Portier, but you know, still a long way to go in this race, Jeff. A lot could change, and a lot of people hopeful for Jason in the chat, so a lot of support for the Alfa Romeo driver, and right now not looking terrible for him, given that there will be pit stops ahead. Oh, very nearly into the rear of Brownie, though, just about gets the car slowed down in time. But these guys on the fresh mediums have caught up to Yoda, who is now the rolling roadblock, and he might be able to help his teammate up here, maybe be able to back Fraser and Richie back into Brownie here, who's running in 7th right now, but it's net 3rd, so nicely done from the German in the Williams.
Yoda really, as you said, the rolling roadblock here. Fraser within that 3/10 range, and he's just biting his nails wanting to get by, I imagine, as the rest of these drivers behind are. But Yoda has orders. Brownie's got work to do, and if Brownie's able to weave through and get behind Yoda, I imagine this the door will fly open.
Yeah, absolutely. I do believe Dendaku, ZZ9, I think they've just exchanged some idiot now looking to enact some sort of revenge on Paris, but not going to find it at the inside into the Nouvelle Chicane. Very patient from the Haas reserve, but still, they'll be hungry for some points. Like you said, leaving the Pirates charge, so still bragging rights on the table, despite the fact that he's not here in a Drivers' Championship capacity. He is still here to take points away from them.
Paris with a little bit of a tap. Yeah, he's caught the wall. He's headed right into the pit lane there. It's
a front wing change for the Ferrari. Hards to the end, and well, this is not the sort of form we're expecting, you know, from what we've seen over the past few weeks from him in Monaco. It's almost like range, just so much of an equalizer.
Has had a bit of an issue here. It looks like he slipped. Fraser's through. Ace wanted it, but Yoda says, no, one for now. One at a time. Not going to be happy about that, Yoda, but now he has one car separating him and his teammate here, and well, I think Fraser might just take away and go for a little bit of a cruise.
Well, this is great news for Fraser because he's on this older tire, because he was the first to pit, and that undercut really worked out for him. So now he just needs to preserve these tires as best as he can, because everyone else in this train has slightly fresher rubber, particularly Dason on those 3-lap old mediums compared to Fraser's, which is 6 laps old. So he needs to use this time, nurse his tires a little bit, but at the same time bring out a gap, drag that delta wider from Yoda so that he's got as much breathing room as he possibly can get, as Ace Richie looking like he's going to be following through past Yoda in just a few moments' time. He might even try it here.
This is risky.
Up the inside of the Williams. Can the McLaren find enough time? There's a little bit of a touch, but I think they're all good. Now, Yoda, like you said, should swing the door wide open for Brownie, but at the same time, Brownie has a problem. Dayson, he's going to follow him through on his team.
Not what they wanted.
Brilliant move.
That's not what they wanted, but I think that Yoda knew that if he didn't let Brownie through there, it would have been very, very difficult coming out of the tunnel with Dayson so close behind. I think that if it was going to happen at any point, it needed to happen there. Given how things went with Ace, Ace really pushed the issue there and brought things ahead in a bit of a rush. Here's Valinu round the outside. He has to blow the chicane against Yoda here, and he's going to take 5 seconds for his effort. That is not what the Red Bull needed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate as well because you could see he attempted to slow down there knowing what he'd done, but now he would have conceded the place, I think, if he hadn't picked up that 5-second penalty, but now that he's got it, he's going to charge on with it. And like I said, not what he wants. Very unfortunate for the Red Bull, but still, he's got to push forward, get his head down, keep working away with it. Some idiot now, he's going to pass the Williams of Yoda, and Vexit might follow him through 2 overtakes.
Well, it's not done yet. They're still wheel-to-wheel. Yoda and Vexit wheel-to-wheel coming up the hill right now. They have Microlander on the rear with the front row seat. Now Vexit wheel-to-wheel. Some idiot. He's gone into the wall now. Microlander wheel-to-wheel with the Williams, and Vexit's caught the wall and gone round, and he is now out of this race. The VSC has been deployed.
That was so tight. Vexit, you could see him there. You know, just trying to go around the outside of Yoda, who had some idiot in front of him. Some idiot obviously had no one beside him. Took his normal line, and when Vexit went a little late on the brakes to try and get around Yoda, saw the Haas in front of him closing the door, and because he wasn't expecting the move, no need for him to move, and then Vexit just slammed into the wall, bounced off, and then you see the spin, caused a retirement, and a VSC. We're going green here. Microlander's picked up a drive-through in 9th place. Not good for the Red Bull squad. 2 major penalties in quick succession. Alex Bido now just ahead of Shenji. They're not going to take advantage of this. The safety car ending at just the wrong time, or the VSC, I should say. But this race, still safety car-less drift, just that VSC to mention. And these drivers, they've been doing so well so far, and still most of them keeping it very clean.
Well, one thing here is we're getting some reports of connectivity issues, which is always very unfortunate to hear about in the chat, but that was a very unique and dynamic situation. Stewards will, of course, review post-race, but I think the question that's being asked right now is where did the full safety car go, and why haven't we seen it for that incident? Because there was a car retired. We've had 2 retirements in this race. No full safety car as of yet. We're here now, lap 18 out of 39. We're just about at that halfway point. There's a lot left in this one.
Yeah, and there's some really tight battles. Milan, he's looking to try and find a way past Yoda, as well as Brainstew in somewhat of a Ferrari sandwich right now between Domi and Paris, and Brainstew, Paris on fresh hards. Domi, 16 laps. He's been on these since lap 1 in that Ferrari. He's down in 14th right now, but this is all for position, so you need to just stick it out as well as you can. ZZ9 just running away a little bit ahead of them, and that's not what Brainstew in the Alfa Romeo wants. He wants to be unleashed and go and hunt these guys down, while his tyres will be taking him very comfortably to the end of this one.
Chandra has been hunting down Bido, Freeware on the rear of them, and as a result of them on the 18-lap-old mediums, Fraser has caught them up. Richie not too far behind. Brownie's there as well. Dayson, that big train, is about to jump into session once again, and Bido at present will be the leader of it. Brainstew on the rear of Domi now, with Paris to contend with him. He's looking tight at Domi, but nothing doing into turn 1. He's in a Ferrari sandwich.
Indeed, and it doesn't look like he's going to get out of it anytime soon, because Domi doing an excellent job, and these hards, they can go pretty much the full distance of this race, so there's not a lot that Domi's tyres are going to have an upset for until the very end. We've got another yellow flag. It's the other Alfa Romeo. It's Dayson from first, now in 8th, and there is monumental damage on the right-hand side of that front wing, and that is not what he wants to be doing. It's not what the fans want to be seeing either. There's a lot of disappointment after that one. He's lost out huge amounts of time, and it looks like points. What could have been 25 now looks like a slim chance of 1 strip.
Well, it's very unfortunate. He will now come into the pit lane, and we'll see where he falls out in all of this action. But as I said, that train now starting to really tighten up, as Shenji and Bido have been fighting with Freeware now in position to play rear gunner for Fraser behind. Richie in this equation. Nobody's going to be happy here that everybody might just fall into the queue. And penalties on the board for a few of these racers. Let's take a look at them. Shenjay with 3, Freeware with 6 seconds, Fraser, Richie, and Brownie all clean of penalties at the minute with value. Picking up that 5-second penalty for corner cutting. It wasn't a speeding in the pit lane, it was corner cutting through this Nouvelle chicane. And then we had Yoda, 8.6 seconds behind in 8th, no penalties. Milan, 9th. Sindako rounding out the top 10 right now, no penalties for them.
So right now what we've got here is a fairly clear-cut podium if these guys can keep themselves battling. So Fraser, Ace, Richie, and Brownie here, they all need to fight out one another to, decide that podium, because like you said, Valu, that 5-second penalty, that's going to just be huge for him towards the end of this race. And also Fraser, Richie, and Brownie, they need to keep themselves penalty-free, because if either one of them picks up a penalty, that could be the difference between winning and losing this race. At the end of it, the guys in front of them, they've all got to pit for softs towards the end of this one. Yoda, he needs to pit. Milan, too far back, I think, and same story for Sundaku as well. So these three now, not a lot of competition around them, and they just need to make sure that they keep calm, keep collected, make sure that they pick these moves carefully. They don't have to be too aggressive. The front three, they'll be pitting in about 8 laps time.
Well, Freeware right now, with Fraser really sitting in his rearview mirrors, has been looking quite hard at him. Right now, Paris looking at Brain Stew. Here we go. Through Sector 1, Paris now up the inside. Will he get this 13th position from the Alfa Romeo and catch up with his teammate? Yes, he will. Into the hairpin. Brain Stew looking for a switchback into the hairpin. Isn't going to find it. Paris now into 13th for the time being. Now, Freeware, Fraser, 3rd and 4th. I saw them quite tight here. How's the exit for Fraser? Does he have enough of a run to get this AlphaTauri into turn 1? DRS on the rear wing. He's looking to that outside. Does he send it? No. Freeware taking his line. Fraser being patient. Well, as I say it. Oh. I don't know about that one. Richie looking to pick up the pieces from what could be a very intense battle.
Well, the thing is here, like you said, Steph, as soon as Fraser makes a move on Freeware, Richie's first thought is, how can I dispatch this AlphaTauri? Because you can't get stuck in traffic here around Monaco. It is, points thrown away if you can't. Some idiot really tied to the rear of Domi right now. He's looking to get past some sort of traffic, looking around the outside of Massenet. Not going to find it. But there's a lot of drivers looking for moves that do exist, but they're so hard to execute. We've seen it all week long, and Tier 1 no different.
It's a very, very touchy section of circuit. We've already seen some intense battling through there, resulting in the retirement of one car in the case of Vexit. But Domi, 20-lap-old hards right now. Some idiot looking to send it down the inside into the chicane. He's going for it. They're together. Domi and some idiot, just a gentle coming together there through the chicane. No, Domi takes 3 seconds. Still wheel to wheel. Ooh, this is very, very intense. What's happened here? What's happened here? Some idiot. Did he have to give a position back? I thought he had gotten through. Now he's got Dason in the equation. What a weird race we're seeing in the back end of this field right now.
Well, I've been glued to this train strip that's, huge now for what is the lead of the race, but the exception, the front three of this train all have to pit for softs before the tail end of this one. And Fraser been glued to the gearbox of Freeware, but not finding a way past. And luckily for him, Ace Richie hasn't found a way past the Renault either, so it's all to play for.
Well, let's take a look at the gap to leader right now, as it's currently 58 seconds from first all the way down to Dougie, and we are on lap 23 out of 39, and I think a lot can change in the laps remaining here around Monaco. Right now, Domi has some idiot looking up the inside of the chicane once again. This time, some idiot taking a little bit more time, getting on the brakes, just keeping himself in the rear view of that Ferrari for the time being.
Yeah, so close. Fraser is so tight to the rear of Fraser, and every corner I think maybe this is the one with a good enough exit, this could be the run. And even when he does get a good exit, it's Monaco. He's not finding a way past Paris and ZZ9. They've exchanged, and Paris finding himself up into 11th place. Still points on the board for the championship leader, and every point matters for him. He's only 1 point ahead of Valu right now. And Valu's 5-second time penalty, he could retain his championship lead here if he plays his cards right.
Some idiot now in the rear of Domi. Major defending coming out of the Ferrari here, giving some idiot the squeeze, but he's gone into the wall. He has front right end plate damage, and I think some idiot might get him through the hairpin, and he does. Richie has not been able to do anything about this train in front of him. Neither has Fraser. And well, Fraser, Ace, Brownie are theoretically speaking your net podium runners, because Bito, Shenjay, and Freer have all yet to come in to change those tires. They could be waiting for a safety car. Very unique situation that Fraser, Ace, and Brownie find themselves in behind these 24-lap old medium runners.
Well, they can't come in just yet. The pit window opens for them at about lap 28. I reckon maybe lap 27 if they want to go for the undercut, you know, and really push the tires. But realistically, I expect them to come in 29 around there, take 10 laps nice and comfortably on the softs. Make sure they've got a decent amount of pace all throughout this campaign. But interestingly enough, Freeway actually just falling off the back of Shenjay a tiny bit, and also the AlphaTauris, they can't pit on the same lap either, so one of them will get a more beneficial, whether the undercut or the overcut works, as Microlander, Dougie Falcons all the way down at the bottom of this grid. They're exchanging for P17. Dougie holding on to the position for now. Shenjay Freeway. Shenjay is into the pits. I just saw the time tower going absolutely crazy. It's not a crash. Shenjay, he's going for that undercut. He's coming in.
Well, this puts Fraser into third position now, and Ace now fourth position. The podium is in his sights, and he's using that battery, 45% on the battery. Fraser, on the other hand, absolutely tons of deployment remaining in that Renault freeware on these tires, is expending a lot of those resources right now. And Bito, he used to be quite known for using a lot of battery. He's doing all right here in lead of things right now in the Mercedes.
Yeah, and a safety car now would really be brilliant for him, but if it happened this lap, Shenjay would just be robbed realistically of track position. You can see him where he's come out. He's in P10, and it looks like he could score points this year from the back of this grid. That is an excellent achievement around Monaco. Really nice driving from him so far in that AlphaTauri. His teammate here in freeware. Are we going to see him come in? We are. Bito staying out again. So, in my mind, the AlphaTauri is coming a little bit earlier than I was expecting. And Bito doing more along the lines of what I was thinking.
Issue in the chicane, it would seem, between Brainstew and some idiot now. Some idiot's into 13th position. But yes, as you said, freeware into the pit lane. That will put Sindako into 8th. Shenjay will jump him most certainly. Where is Paris going to end up? He's going to jump freeware here. Ooh, he just jumps freeware. So freeware into 11th position on the fresh softs. And of course, around Monaco, just because you have the pace doesn't mean you can necessarily overtake.
Yeah, absolutely. But you've got to look now. The gap between Shenjay and freeware, it wasn't for 4.5 seconds before that pit stop. So Bito might cost him here, but he doesn't have the penalty that the AlphaTauris do. So he's got that going in his favor, and there's a fair few penalties outside of those few as well. Shenjay, well, he's already found a position. Sindaku through the tunnel. Nicely done. Shenjay now up into P8 on the fresh softs. We've seen him hard charge on some mediums earlier in the race. Now on the Red Bull tires, what can he produce? And, well, there goes Bito. The front three have now been unleashed on this grid. And it's Fraser, Ace, Richie, and Brownie, with Valu just behind them as well. All fighting it out for the podium spots. Valu sort of negated from the fight with that 5-second time penalty. Doesn't mean he can fight for track position though. Slow down Brownie, maybe just, fight and just hope that he pushes him back. Just try and bring a 5-second gap. Seems unlikely, but definitely possible. Especially with it being Monaco's drift, it's so easy to make one race-ending mistake around here.
Well, we know how Monaco through the week has given ourselves some very intense final laps. It just, you know, those final few laps, it's as if the gloves come off and things get intense. And, well, we'll just have to see if we have that same scenario here in Tier 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's not only pressure mounting, especially for, you know, the likes of Fraser. He hasn't been on the podium yet. He's scored very few points at the beginning of the season, now on for a full 25. It's a lot of pressure on him. And, you know, in these last few laps, tires start to wear down, grip levels start to go, and he's on the oldest tires on this grid. You know, with Sindaco, I think the only exception to that, and that's not going to feel good in that car. So really easy to make a mistake when he's just going to keep his head down, keep himself focused. He's an experienced racer. You know, we've seen him, you know, do the dance so many times across the seasons, and now up in P1, he's got 10 laps to hold off Ace Ritchie and Brownie for.
Freeware hasn't been able to dispatch Paris, as Paris right now is the gatekeeper to potentially more points for the German driver. Bitto in 10th will be happy about that, and as he'll be able to catch up with this train and maybe make something happen. Yoda now into the pit lane for a fresh set of softs. Very up and down race for him, as Shenjie now looking for Milan into the chicane. It's not happening just yet.
Another problem Shenjie has is, well, not a problem, but something that he's going to have is that once he passes Milan, which I do expect him to do, we've seen him brilliant overtaking all night, and he's got those soft tyres. The problem he has is, once he extends the gap, he has to extend the gap because of the penalty.
That's right.
He's so far behind Valu that it seems unlikely.
It would be very, very tough for him to get that done. As he's pushing, of course, these tires degrade. He's looking at Milan now. Tight up through Sector 1. Milan really putting that car in his way, but Shenjie has other plans, and there's a little bit of a squeeze here. Contact's been made. Milan fighting hard with Shenjie, but Shenjie gets it done into 5th position.
Shenjie lost an end plate, though. Front left missing now. Not
good for him. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to make of that encounter overall.
Very, very unfortunate for Shenjie, who's been hard charging all evening, but now what's done is done, and he's got to push forward for the rest of this race with that damage on the front wing. The soft tyres, they'll help him for the first few laps, but once that grip starts to wear away, that damage is really going to start being felt by the AlphaTauri driver. Meanwhile, Fraser doing very nicely to sort of start pulling away. He's been reeled in a little bit over the course of the last lap, but he was out of the 1 second window when the front three actually starting to space out Striff after the slower, older tyres got out of the way.
Well, Fraser will be very happy as long as he's able to maintain that first position. As you said, Ace there second, Brownie in third as well. Harris right now tight to the rear of Sindaco on the 16-lap-old hards versus Sindaco's 23-lap-old mediums. We'll see what Paris is able to do while he's being hunted by Freeware and Bitto.
Yeah, not only that, but Sindaco here on 23-lap-old mediums. He's really feeling it. You can see it as Paris looks on the inside into the Grand Hotel hairpin. They're side by side. The Ferrari now on the outside coming into 7 and still around the outside of 8. Looking to try and find it on the exit. Overtake enabled through the tunnel. They're still side by side. Freeware watching all of this. Looking to see if he can take advantage, and he might be able to up the inside into the Nouvelle chicane. Not going to be for the AlphaTauri, but Paris is up into P7, and I'm happy he dispatched the racing point there of Sindaco as quickly as he did, because now he can bring out a gap to the hard-charging AlphaTauri on the fresh softs of Freeware and Bitto, of course, behind him.
Well, a lot of space being left there for Paris, riding the outside wall of that tunnel there. There's a little bit of an elevation change through that tunnel, unsettling the car on the inside. Things looking a little shaky as they came out, and it was a good fight all throughout into that tunnel.
Yeah, Valu He may have a penalty, but he's not giving up stuff. He's really hunting Brownie here and putting the Williams under a fair bit of pressure. And Brownie, a little bit slow over the course of the last few laps. He's 1.8 seconds down on Ace Ritchie, and it hasn't been long since they were unleashed, these top three. So,
Sindako in the hairpin has taken damage, it would appear, as Freeware gets by around the outside through into the tunnel. Sindako seemingly starting to struggle on these 24-lap old mediums. Ooh, yeah, definitely starting to struggle there. Bido now on the inside is going to get this move done.
Well, following through to ensure that he gets the, doesn't lose too much time to Freeware ahead. And he's done that nicely. But yes, Sindaku, those tires, they're going to be feeling really, really old. And, if Shenji didn't have damage, he would be hunting down the guys ahead much faster because they're on similarly old tires as well. Brownie, Valu still very tight coming through the first sector into sector 2 now. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Red Bull make the noise, but we got VSC. Brainstew's out.
Brainstew's out of this race and the VSC has been deployed. He's crashed. Oh no. So he is definitely done for the count. And that is now 3 drivers retired here in Tier 1 racing.
Yeah, still no sign of that full safety car, and with it being so close to the end of the race, seems unlikely we'll see Bert Mylander hop out in that Mercedes, but never say never.
Valu hunting down Brownie right now. Valu holding on to that 5 seconds that he took for the cut through the Nouvelle chicane. And we'll see what happens at the end of this one. Brownie right now without any penalties, but he has fallen off of Ace and Fraser in front. Ace struggling on the rear of the Renault right now with far less battery at his disposal. Hasn't been able to really do much about Fraser in lead of things right now.
Yeah, and considering the Renault's tires, it's a very, very impressive feat. Yoda, some sort of disconnect. Let's see if we can get him some sort of get back in here. He hasn't had the best of race himself, but fingers crossed he reconnects regardless.
Lap 34 out of 39. And we're being told that Mr. Yoda has had an unfortunate game crash. Yeah, Alex Budd there coming through as the Williams engineer. And you hate when those things plague races, eh, Unicorn?
Yeah, something completely out of the control of the drivers. Obviously it sucks when something happens on track to you that you couldn't control, but when something like a game crash happens, it's just so unfortunate, so jarring. Not only does it knock you, because obviously you're going to be losing pace with the AI driving, you've got to load it up, it takes you out of that rhythm, but at the same time it also just breaks your sort of immersion. These drivers, when you're sat there for a good hour sitting behind the wheel of a virtual car, especially those guys on a wheel, you get into that rhythm. When you're tapping into a program, it sort of breaks that. So sort of a mental challenge to get back into it. But Yoda, fingers crossed, he can reconnect. He's not many laps to go out of the points right now in the Williams, but yeah, super unfortunate for him. And it's a great member of the MRO community. Yeah, everyone knows Yoda, and he's been working so hard, and to not see him score points here, it is a shame. And fingers crossed his luck improves into next week. His teammate though, Brownie, still on for a podium here, Striff.
Well, the Williams need it. The Williams squad need it. It's been a very up and down, shaky season for them here in Tier 1. Fraser, Ace, Brownie, the top 3 right now. Valley really putting Brownie under some pressure. Ace, 1.5 on the rear. Here goes some idiot. Dason's had an issue through the chicane, and that will be some idiot clean through into 10th. Picking up on that.
Yoda, ZZ9. Well, ZZ9 taking advantage. Yoda's car there, still not in control, I don't think, by him, so very, very unfortunate, but not the first time we've seen Dason have a problem through the Nouvelle chicane. We've only got a few laps to go right now. The top 3 still the same as it was a long time ago. There we go, Yoda back into the session for those last 3 laps after this one.
27, 26, 27, 26 for the medium compound tire lap time life on this timing tower. 26 laps for Value on the rear of Brownie, and I don't know how much more rubber these tires are going to have on them when it comes time for Value to maybe attempt an overtake here on Brownie, but I don't think Ace is getting anything done on Fraser. That battery is dry, and Fraser has a little bit in the tank to keep himself happy. So, barring any mistakes from Fraser, well, Unicorn, I think you and the Renault guys might be quite happy.
Yeah, I know. You know, part of me is just fingers crossed that lightning doesn't strike twice. So I was sitting in a podium position, similar lap time in a Renault not 2 days ago, and I spun it coming into the chicane. So I'm just praying right now that Fraser is a bit more experienced than I am. So I'm hoping he can use that to his advantage. He's got the back marker here of Dougie Falcons ahead of him. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. Looks like it's one of the Ferraris. Domi has had an issue through the Nouvelle chicane.
Well, that is not what you want to see. Issues at the end there,
damage.
but that entirety of the front right is pretty well gone, and you have a little bit hanging there on the left, but that right-hand side's pretty banged up. Timing tower giving us a little bit of an issue as Yoda has rejoined the session, and that is why the timing tower is no longer giving us a beautiful read, but now some idiot on the rear of Alex Biddo coming into the Nouvelle chicane for 9th position. We'll see if the Haas driver has it in him on these mediums to get something done versus Alex. Either driver with penalties. It's about the difference of 1 or 2 points between these two drivers, and Dason's right there to pick up the pieces should something happen.
Yeah, being opportunistic is all you can really be around Monaco. Difficult track to overtake on. If someone makes a mistake, you have to capitalize on it. And that's, you know, what we've seen all this week throughout tonight's race as well. No different, that someone makes a mistake, you've got to go for that move. It's not, that door isn't going to be open for much longer. So patience, very much a virtue around here, but at the same time, quick reactions and making sure you know where you can and can't overtake. As it looks like Yoda, upon rejoining the session, might have had an issue. He's got damage and he's moving slowly through sector 3.
Well, that's unfortunate to come back into the session. He was in a very, very, I'd say, strategical point in this race earlier when he was holding up a lot of this grid. And I think that might have worked out for them. A little bit of a tap there coming out of Paris onto Milan. Milan gets back going. But we are on the final lap of this race now as Fraser comes through the first turn, and of course now we have not had a full safety car, and nor will we. And that will be the second time this week that we have not had a full safety car around Monaco. Milan to the outside now, Paris to the inside, coming through into turn 1. It's tight, but Paris gets the move through into 6th. Fraser now leading this race 3.2 seconds ahead of the McLaren of Ace. And you love to see it, and it's Brownie in the Williams, who has definitely pulled away here on Value.
Yeah, last lap. Everything, you know, still to play for some of these drivers. And Paris making that late move. He's got that penalty, though. I don't know whether he's going to be able to extend it fully, but Fraser into the final sector now.
Oh, there goes an end plate, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah, he just needs to be a little bit careful, but there it is. To the line now, Yoda just ahead of him. And it is the Renault weaving across the line. He's happy about it. He's only scored 1 point before this one in this season. Now 25 to his name. Ace Ritchie, Brownie coming home in 2 and 3. Valu with a 5-second penalty will clinch 4th place. Shenjie from last on the grid all the way to 5th place, and maybe a bit of a higher without that damage. Paris, he drops to 7th behind Milan. That last lap maneuver not going to situate the position. Bitto as well jumps into 7th. Some idiot in 9th. Dason, after what was a very strong start to this race, qualifying, picks up a final 1 point in 10th place. Freeware 11th, Sindaku 12th, ZZ9 13th, Yoda 14th, Dougie Falcons in 15th, Domi in 16th, and Microlander will finish this race. Last but not least in 17th, Brainstorm, Vexit, and Blotel, the only 3 retirements, and no safety cars, Jeff. We've got to say, these guys, they've done pretty well to keep this race clean.
Well, there was a very tight gap on this grid, and I have to say it was a fantastic race. They did keep it quite clean. There was a few retirements, but for the second time this week in 4 races, we've had no full safety cars around the streets of Monte Carlo. And of course, what a drive coming out of the Renault Fraser. Congratulations to him. And we have Richie there. Ace, of course, in second position, with Brownie rounding out the podium in third. And I think everybody can be happy at the end of that one for a very, very fun race to watch. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, Unicorn. As now there it is, the classification. Fraser from third to first with the race win. What a drive from him. Ace, he started on second, he finishes in second, and it was Brownie from 8th finishing here on the podium in third. Valo, he started this race in 4th, but that was good enough for him. Shenjie with a monster drive from 20th to 5th. Milan 10th to 6th for Haas. Vito 11th to 7th. And of course we have Paris, the Ferrari. He started in 7th, he drops to 8th, and there was less than, if I'm not mistaken, 9 or 8 milliseconds between Vito and Paris at the line. Some idiot in 9th position there, and we have Dayson running out the top 10. What a race. Freeware dropping on penalties. 12 seconds for the German. Same for Domi in this one, but Freeware, Sindako, ZZ9, Yoda, Dougie, Domi, Microlander, Brainstew, Vexit, and Blotel were in this one as so. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We're going to have some interviews in just a moment. Fastest lap was a 1:10.754 from the Italian. That's Sindako in the Racing Point. But we're going to have interviews and a raid in just a few moments. So stick around for that.
And what a race that was. Just some really great driving. You know, Fraser, obviously, very, very strong win from him. But, you know, Brownie as well, 8th to 3rd. Really good performance from him. Shenjie as well. You know, it can't be understated. From last on the grid at Monaco to finish in the top 5, that is a monumental performance from him. So, really big congratulations to him as well. Obviously, we won't get an interview with Shenjie, but you know, a lot of really brilliant drives from everyone on this grid, because for these guys to, you know, keep it clean, no full safety car, it's a fairly rare occurrence around such a tricky track like, you know,
Definitely.
Monaco here.
Definitely. Well, it is time for the interviews now, and joining us is the 3rd place finisher, the Williams driver, Brownie. How you doing? Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm
First time we've had a chance to talk to you on the podium in the season so far. Monaco, a track I'd say you have a good chunk of experience there. And why don't you just talk us through this race and that P3 finish for you? Because, well, you didn't start at the front, but you certainly finished there.
Well, I bottled the qualifying as per usual.
Okay.
The brownie special.
The brownie special.
But yeah, the last time I did Monaco, I did some race pace testing, and I figured out that I could pit lap 5 to mediums.
Right, lap
but
5.
I was a bit hesitant to do that. But in the end, I still undercut a few people, and I had a really nice outlap and overtook a few people. That was good.
Your teammate Yoda was really in the equation at one point there. Was that helping you kind of hold things up, getting you situated?
Well, it helped me in the sense that I knew what he was doing, and I was basically just saving tires the whole medium stint. And my only problem was that I changed the force feedback just before the race, because I had a bit of problem turning the wheel fast enough in sector 2. So I made it a bit lighter. But then I had a bit of problems with the balance at some point in the race, and I couldn't keep the pace up. In the end, it came back, and then was a little shenanigans from McLaren that kept me from attacking Ace. But I don't know if I could have made it anyways. In the end, I'm happy with P3.
Well, it was a great drive from you, Brownie, and congratulations. And of course, we'll hope to see you in the commentary once again for the next round or in the future. So thanks a lot, Brownie.
Thank you, and bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That was Brownie, ladies and gentlemen. Third place finisher for Williams. Now joining us in the commentary, Ace, welcome through. Congratulations on the second place finish. How was Monaco for you today?
Monaco was interesting. I was not really.
We can hear your music in the background, my man.
My bad. Monaco. I was still debating before the race what setup to use, really, but I just went back to my original, and then just hoping to get a 7 in quali. I did get one on second lap with the same tires actually, which actually the tires felt better than new tires, so I was kind of surprised by that. But in the race, I just focused on no warnings, no damage, no need to really send it. Like, you know, if I get second, I get second. I'm fine with the result. Got good points. Good points from McLaren. I guess I don't know what happened to Doggy though. But...
Congratulations on the P2 finish, Ace. How are you looking for Baku ahead?
Baku, pretty good actually. If I can get like a good tow or whatever, I can get into the 36s and hopefully run away from there. Probably that's a very good track for me. I really like it.
Thank you very much, Ace, for taking the time to interview. Congratulations again on the P2, and we will see you potentially again soon.
Yes, till next week.
Thank you very much, Ace. Awesome. All right. Now, as usual, Unicorn, I'll allow you to have the honors for this one. But it is going to be the podium finisher, the race winner in the Renault. It is Fraser, and congratulations to you, Fraser.
Yeah, Fraser, big congratulations, a big thank from Renault as well. Talk us through that one, third to first. That must be, a great relief off your shoulders. You haven't scored too many points this season, but now 25 to your name in one race. How are you feeling? Don't know if Fraser is here or not, unfortunately.
I was.
Oh, there he is.
I managed to pull together a decent qualifying lap, starting from P3, and then it was just Monaco basically. Can't really overtake, just chilling in a train. So when lap 8 came, I knew I kind of had to try and make a move because Richie was going really slowly. So I went in the pits on the end of lap 8 in hope of getting the undercut on Richie and wait, who was in front of me? Richie and Valu, and that worked out very nicely. So I came out in P2, and Nigel pit really late, so I automatically jumped him too. And then from there it was just no warnings, no damage, saving my tires, ERS to the end.
Yeah, well, that undercut, really proved powerful. Was that always your strategy to pit so early on lap 9, or were you just reacting to the situation around you?
They were so slow, so I was just thinking, like, if I want to try and get something in this race, I need to try something. So I went in the pits and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, and then obviously, once you came out, you got the moves done. You're sitting in that train, like you were saying, behind the two AlphaTauris and Bido as well. Was that, we saw you all over the rear of Freeware, but you were keeping it patient. Was it always just, I know I can beat these guys. They're going to have to pit again. Was it all just about keeping that wing clean, or was there any point where you wanted to just, send it, get past and try and break a gap to Richie behind?
I once tried to get past Freeware, but he kind of closed the door, so I decided to just sit back and wait. Because then I could save my tires and ERS so I wouldn't have to struggle in the end, should I have bad pace. And yeah.
Yeah, well, before we let you go and celebrate this one, a win, does this now boost your confidence for the rest of the season? Looking ahead to Baku, do you think, how are you feeling now that you've got that first win under your belt and a huge haul of points?
Baku is not really a track I'm very confident at, but I'll see what happens. Might have good pace.
Well, again, huge congratulations. Thanks for coming to take the time to interview you, and I look forward to seeing you here in the commentary booth once again.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Fraser. Well, that was quite the campaign, Unicorn. Tier 1 action has now come and gone for Monaco. Of course, we'll have highlights coming to you for all the divisions on the YouTube channel very, very soon. On Tuesday, we're doing a different style of the highlights now. So if you guys are looking for Spain, that is now out on the YouTube channel. But we have all the replays coming out on YouTube. It's been a very, very intense season. Now we have APAC division for the 5th and final race of the not the season, but of this week of Monaco racing this Sunday. And it's going to be a lot of fun then, and that will be Unicorn on the mic with Seb, if I'm not mistaken. And thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in. Hit that follow button. Of course, shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. Any last remarks from you, Mr. Unicorn?
Well, just again, huge congratulations to these Tier 1 for keeping it not only as entertaining as that was, but for as clean as it was as well. A lot of good battling, a lot of hard-fought action, and just a real spectacle to see these guys who are so fast at this game, absolutely nail a tricky track like Monaco.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We are going to be rating as always, and we'll hope you join us, and we'll see you guys for more racing action very, very soon. Thank you so much, and have a great, great evening.